Hello and welcome to the third video in the in-memory database data key value store series. So in the first episode we created a command, wrote an interpreter, a parser, and then we kind of created a main where we can read and write from the console and execute the commands. And then in the second episode we basically refactored the code a bit because we started with a list and then we swapped it with a map, so we cleaned up the code quite a bit and make things a lot easier to read. But now we want to look at networking, and I'll be honest, from the get-go I've never done, or I don't recall ever doing networking with Node.js before, so we'll have to figure out which library to use and then see how it works out. So I've never used this before. I have no idea which libraries are available in PureScript. So let's go through the process. I'm thinking on this journey where I'll show you the process of how I find libraries, how I think about them, and so on, right? For this kind of thing. So of course we're going to start from pursuit, right? So the first thing is actually, I don't think we even start here, right? So before anything, it's kind of like I already know that the backend for PureScript is Node.js in this case, right? We will be running, so sorry for our program, right? It's going to be Node.js. So if we want to do something involving networking, we'll almost always want to either use some Node.js binding directly or some library, some JavaScript library that's built on top of Node.js. So before anything else, let's see how do we do networking with Node.js. Let's see what this sort of search turns out. Right, so maybe introduction to Node.js. Well, I was hoping on some better search results than this. Network, well, maybe the search is not the best thing. I mean, maybe it's okay. Let's just click on this thing and see what kind of thing we can find, right? Let's remove this thing and maybe this will look better. So an example, I don't really want this sort of examples. Let's look at a standard library and see if we can find something here that stands out. So hooks, buffers, child process, command line console. So we don't want HTTP, right? We don't want to do a web thing. We want to do a networking thing, like a lower level thing. So maybe net is the thing that we need. Let's keep that in mind. Stream, that might also be a thing. Hello, welcome. Yeah, so it has to be either net or stream, right? Whereas stream has a chance to be something that's a bit more so what kind of readable streams? Yeah, maybe this is like maybe we don't want to do something as and I'm not sure this works with networking. So let's look at net, right? Oops, I did not mean to do that. So let's look at net, right? So we have a new server with some options and connection listener. Okay, we got okay, one thing we figured out is that it's called net, right? So let's look at some very trivial example and just make sure. Oh, use server get connect. Oh, okay, never mind. It was we were looking at close, right, or something else. Okay, so it's net dot. So it's called net, right? So then I won't even bother reading the documentation here because usually the types on pursuit are way better to go, right? So maybe I expect it to be node-net, right? Because that's usually the naming convention. It's PureScript-node- the thing, then its name in Node.js, right? So we're just going to close this, and sure enough, we have this thing here. Now, one thing I wonder is there an F version of this? And unfortunately, I'm not seeing one, which is a bit unfortunate. Let's see, maybe it already has some F. Okay, so not this. Let's look at server. So let's see what kind of functions do we have here. So we have effects for address, for close. Okay, so everything is into like it. Unfortunately, it's not using AFF, right? Asynchronous effects. It's using effects, and then I guess these are callbacks, right? Okay, so then we can either use these as they are, or maybe we can wrap them into F. We'll see which one we prefer doing. Okay, so we have some documentation here, and then the types which will help us quite a bit. So I guess that definitely means we need to use this node.net.server, right? So let's just jump into Spago and then add node-net, I guess was the name for the library. Yep. Okay, and then do Spago install, then build. Okay, cool. So yeah, we can open up the code, and okay, let's think about this for a second. So what do we want to do? Well, we most likely want to create a server, maybe. So create a server, returns the server, and adds the callback as a listener for the connection event. The server will be ICP or TCP depending on what it listens to. Okay, we will most likely do TCP. Okay, so then we can do the number of concurrent connections using get connections. We can do listen given a server, but I think this, okay, so I guess we need to do create server and then we need to run listen on it. Okay, listening for connection as the callback as a listener to the listening event. Okay. Listen exclusive. Okay. Listen. Okay, and then we can add some callbacks to close, to connection, to error, and so on. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so that's fair enough. I guess the first thing is we need to do create server. Okay, so let's keep this thing open, but before we do that, let's have a look at F for a bit. Let's see how can we get, like, how could we lift this into F, and let's see if there's an easy way to do that. So let's have a look here. So I'm not sure what's compatibility. So I think this is for FFI, right? So I don't think we actually care about this. So I think maybe F is what we need to look at. Okay, so let's see, how can we build an F from an F? So we have this thing, right, which constructs an F on a lower effect using a callback. A canceller effect should be returned to cancel the pending action. The supply callback may involve only. So I don't think we are able to do this. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, let's see. Let's continue reading. So have launch, run, suspend, fork. What's this? So suspends an F from an effect context. No, I don't think it's that. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe we could look at the other libraries and see how they work out. Again, as I said, I've never used this sort of thing before, and I've never internal bracket maybe non-canceller. Oh, okay, so we could basically create a canceller kind of like this, right? Right, we could do a non-canceller, right, and saying, okay, sorry, but this cannot be cancelled. And then let's see, what was the so given a neither error or a, we get an effect back. Okay, so let's look at it. That's a very good suggestion from Palu in chat. So let's look at some and I think we're already looking at the read line f, right? So since we're already somewhat familiar with this, let's see how question is implemented here, right? So where is question? Here it is, right? So we kind of know that this thing used to be like some callback there, right? So let's see. So it's using make f, right? The make f that we're looking at here, right? It is using non-canceller because there's no easy way to cancel it. This is the like original question. So okay, it's using make f go, which takes a handler, right? The handler is this thing, this function, and then q is the output or the question, and then we have a handler, and then we say okay, handler goes to write. Okay, right, and I guess that means that this is the callback basically, the callback portion for question, right? They're kind of saying that we put the result for our effect into write. Okay, and then we give it the interface and replace it with non-canceller. Yeah, so yeah, we pretty much need to just run make f. Okay, so I think we can do that. Yeah, I think that's not too hard to do. So let's try doing that. So let's see. How do we want to do this? Basically, is a different kind of story though. So let's do a different function which just runs the server, right? So let's call it run server, which is an f unit, right? So it's just a thing that we to run the server, and we don't care about anything else, right? And for now, it will run on a different database, and then we'll figure out how to pass a database, right? And share a database between the console and the server. But for now, let's not worry about that. Let's just worry about running the server, right? So in order to run the server, we need to be able to create server, right? So first, let's do this as pure unit, just as a placeholder, and then we need a create server, right? Create server. So how would create server actually look like? Well, let's not worry about the options. Let's just hardcode the options, and then let's just do. So we kind of need to set this handler up, right? So this is the callback as a listener for the connection event. Okay. So let's see, how would this look like? Well, maybe we should look at maybe a couple of other examples. Maybe something that's with events, right? Because that like the readline thing is not really event. So let's look at these are not f. Although this, since it's idiomatic, it might be something regarding f, or maybe those servers already. Let's see, because maybe this already is what I'm trying to do. Although this looks like it's using effect as well. So yeah, maybe this is not what we're looking for. Okay, let's continue looking. So as file system f, I guess, is something that we could have a look at. Yeah, let's see. So let's have a look here. So link, read link, real path, read file. So there's the entire, reads the entire, writes a buffer to a file, write text, appends, open a file asynchronously, read a file. Okay, but this only reads one part, right? So I'm not seeing any function which takes a callback here. Okay, let's see. I think it's fine. I mean, do we even care about making like moving this into f or not? Because like each handler is fine to be in effect, right? We don't need it to be in f. So maybe, sorry, I'm looking in the wrong place. It's here, right? Right, this sort of thing. I think this is fine. So maybe we don't really need to lift this into F. So is there anything that we need to do in F? Maybe not. So maybe we just do effect. Let's do this for now. So let's do server. Let's see if we end up needing it, right? So it's network dot create server. And let's see. So let's see what is options. I keep doing this and I'm not sure how I'm doing it. Actually, yeah, we didn't need any of those. So what's options? Options is an array of tuple string foreign. Okay. And then it's server options. Okay. Server options is options to configure. So it's, is there some default option somewhere? Or how do I even create an options thing? So this is option, a single option. So and this is options. Okay, is there something in the options thing that would help me build something like this? Let's see. This module provides a way of dealing with JavaScript idiom of options, objects, flag, default encoding. Okay. This is, I mean, I think this is the ability to grab an option or something. Then can create options value by using this sort of thing. Oh, okay. So we can do something like this, I guess. Okay, let's see how that works out. So the options are what? Options configured. Okay. One of path or port must be set. Path will make it ICP. Port will make the. Okay, so I guess we only need port. So let's see. Let's look at the example again. So it's. And is options the last parameter? No, it's not. So I need to parenthesize it. So let's say. So let's see. It needs to be like net.port, and then this. And I guess we'll need to import this from options or something. And then we'll set the port to. So what type is port? Is it string or is it? I guess it needs to be listen port. And why is it both int and string? I guess it's int, right? So let's do 3000. Well, I think I already have something running on 3000. Let's do 4000. Okay, that might be the thing to do. And then we need to do this callback, right? Given a socket, how do we handle somebody connecting, right? So handle connected, I guess, or connection handler. I suppose it's what we need to do. I wonder if is that what we need to do, or listening is what we care about. And how do we grab data? Yeah, actually, I'm not seeing anything about reading from the socket. I wonder what that is. So let's see. On listen, we just do an effect now. So I think so. What socket and where is it defined, and what can we do with a socket? Okay, we can set the buffer size. Yeah, we can read from a socket. Okay. Okay, so I guess that's what we need to do. We need to just read from the socket. Okay. So let's go back. And I guess for now we'll just do something that's not very interesting here. So let's do where connection handler is something from net.socket. Is that a thing? So wait, what's net now? Net is net server. So maybe let's replace this with server then. Then let's do this as net.socket. Whatever, that's fine. No, I actually want it as net.socket. Oh, and I know why this doesn't work, because we already have this. So let's do this then. Let's save and then just go to the first error and say that we want to import this thing. Okay, so then we should have this thing imported. And then let's try this net.socket. I'm not sure why this doesn't work, but we can just manually do it. So okay, so then let's do just pure unit. So we get rid of this error. I think we will. Okay, so then now we need to do connection handler equals to also pure unit. Well, sorry, we need this from this to effect unit. And yeah, we need to ignore the argument. So there we go. And I mistyped this, right? Connection handler, and I'm missing an L here. Yeah, not good at typing today. Okay, and then yeah, we don't know this operator, right? So this operator I think is from data.options. Let's look for it here. Yeah, there it is. So let's see, import data.options. Okay, so let's see, cannot match listen options with server options. Okay, so what are server options then? Because yeah, that's fair. Server options are what? Whether the server is this or this, setting the path will make the server ICP. Okay, so where are server options? Okay, so it's allow have open, pause, and connect. So that's all. So how do we? So I guess that means we don't have any options, since these are all false. Do we have an empty here for options? Oh, it's a monoid, right? So I guess we could do empty. Okay, then we have one warning saying that we're not using this. Okay, let's remove it. I'm sure we'll use it for the listen thing. Okay, so then I kind of want to do something like a console client connected here. Oops, it's not JavaScript. Okay. Right, so I think I want to try running it and seeing if we can connect. Well, actually we can't connect because we're not listening, right? So we also need to do a listen. So let's see how listening works. So we can run listen on server. So let's say server.listen on server. And then it's option listen options. Okay, so maybe we want to do something like this. And then we can say listen, well, server.listen port is 4000. And yeah, we don't care about anything else, so let's just do this. Okay, so let's see what else. And then an effect unit, which is okay. We don't really care about this effect, so let's just use pure unit here. And now, yeah, we need to re-add this. So it was import data.options. This. Okay, cool. So that worked. So now that we're listening, I think we need to throw this somewhere in main. I mean, I guess we could just throw it just before the F. Like run server, I guess. I wonder if it will get stuck here and not do the launch F, but we don't care about that right now. That's fine. We really don't care. I mean, if anything, we could just do here, like run it here, and then I think it should be fine. Yeah, I think that will mean that it doesn't block. So let's run it, and then we can do like dump, and like we can still use this, and then I'm not sure if I have NC. How does it work? Like this. There we go, right? So client connected, right? Of course, we can't do anything interesting right now because we're not reading, we're not doing anything, right? So we can, whatever we do here, we'll not see any result here, although we can still use this, right? We can still do put 1, 2, dump, and so on, right? So we are connecting. We know that connections work. Cool. So then there's one more, like in order to start doing something with the connection, I guess we need to do something inside the connection handler, right? So let's figure how this thing works. Right, so I guess, yeah, we need to look into the socket module. So let's see what can we do with a socket, right? So the number of characters buffer to be written on a socket. Okay. Bytes read, so received. Oh, so this just gives you the number. Okay. Creates a connection. Okay. Destroyed and local port and connect on data on drain on ready. Resume. So wait, how do I read actually from this socket? Okay, we have read, write. Can't we read? No, hello. Thank you for the follow. Let's see, Kurchik95. Yeah, thank you very much for the. Okay, so attached to listen ready is internet socket is ready to be used on lookup, on error, on end, on drain, on data. I guess is what we need to. So how does this thing work actually? And unfortunately there's no example here, so maybe we need to look for, you know what, I wonder if the cookbook has examples of this. Maybe we'll find an example in the cookbook that's relevant to networking. So I think there's a big DOC here, which is unfortunately not easy to read. But I guess we could just look for node. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so let's see. Payload, okay, that's my thing. Random number, game, no. Read file contents, no. And write file. Okay, so there's no example here. So maybe, I guess maybe once we're done with this, at some point we might actually create a like something for now. Let's see if it already exists. So yeah, and then let's do socket. Oh, that's WebSocket, so it's different. Let's do net. Okay, so apparently there's no use to here, so let's do a new issue and then see recipe request. Yep. And then what's the title? Or the title should be net/socket node example. basic, I guess. Before is used, check that there are duplicate. Nope, there's not. So okay, what's the name? Well, what is the name? Basic net socket example. No, just this, right? Basic net socket. Node, I think, is how we name them. Wait, okay. Ugh. I think I didn't need to edit this. Okay, and the recipe name must be unique. Use Pascal case. Yep. Description: what recipe should do. Create a new server. Listen. Listen to connections. Echo back. I guess echo net socket. Something like this. Maybe is a better name. Echo back the inputs or something like that. Okay, let's do this. I'm not sure I'll be able to do it very soon, but if nobody gets to doing this soon, then I might just pick it up at some point. Okay, cool. So let's see. Maybe this repository has an example. That's another thing that might be maybe inside tests, although okay, so this creates a server. Okay, so this grabs a socket and then says server receive connection and then write string and then end string. Okay, on close, on connection. So what's going on connection? Okay, on error, on listening. Then we do listen TCP. Okay, so if we do listen TCP, then we can pass the port and like a lot of other things manually rather than. Okay, sure. Address case of. Okay. So then, so where do we do the on data? Receive some data, converting to a string. Okay. So this is as a handler for listen. That's. Wait, so where do we get a socket if we do this here? So it's create connection TCP. Oh wait, so this, okay, I think this is after we're listening, we create a connection and then we test it. So this is the other way around. So I think the way this works is through, where is it? It just does write string here on the socket. I guess what we need to do is this here. So the do on data on it here, but how do we know it's not too late to do it here? Let's look at a let's go back to Node.js and look at an example here. Socket on data. Well, let's not force on data. Let's do just socket. Okay, so this is server. socket. Okay. Created by the user and used directly to interact with the server. For example, create connection. No. Can be created by not and passed to a user when a connection is received. Okay. We don't care about this. Okay, so is there some explanation of how, because I don't want to do connect, right? So this is the explanation for connect. And ref. Okay, so maybe we can find out more on the server functions when we do maybe this. Socket is an instance. Okay, listen. Maybe it's the listen thing. Okay, so start the server, listening for connections, possible signatures. Is asynchronous. Okay, all listen methods take a backlog of parameters to specify the maximum length of queue. Listen method can be called again. So let's look at an example. Oh well, this is just a non-error. Okay. Yeah, okay, so no actual useful example here. Yeah, so let's just Google some more, right? So Node.js, well, oops. Listen, socket, something. Maybe you can find some example. Okay. Well, maybe look for something similar to what we're thinking about. So maybe Node.js, listen echo server, or just echo server, net echo server. Okay, so let's see. Well, I don't want HTTP. Why is this HTTP? Because is this person trying to? Yeah, it's trying to do. They're trying to do HTTP. Never mind. Not the thing we care about. Let's. Well, this is 2014. That might be way too old. Net socket, I guess. Okay. Oh, this uses pipes, but maybe we can figure out without ignoring this. Okay, so create server on error whatever, and then we can do socket.write. Okay, but this is kind of like pipe is kind of cheating, but then I guess we just add the event handler here for data and see what happens. Yeah, let's try that. Let's do socket and then let's do on data, I guess, over socket, and then we have to pass it a function from either buffer string to effect unit, right? So socket do case off, right? So it was either, so it's left buffer, and then we need to do something with the buffer, which I'm not even sure what that is, but yeah, let's go back to our pure script thing. So let's look at on data, I guess. So let's see, what's a buffer and what we do with a buffer. So how can we convert a buffer to a string, basically? So it's from string, and then we have a to string. Okay, so we just need to do a let's do this thing, right? So let's do a do block where we do a buffer that to string Is this node.buffer? Yeah. But then this doesn't have the mutable buffer thing, because this looks like just node.buffer, simpler version. Well, whatever. Let's see what happens if we use this. So, okay. So what was the type here, right? So, given some encoding and a buffer, we get a string. Okay. So what's in an encoding? Let's see. Where do we get encodings? Oh, so it's literally just like encoding dots something. Like I guess let's just do UTF-8. And then buffer, and then we get a string, right? So I guess we could just do, well, let's just do data like so, and then log data, right? As a string, and then we can do write just a string, and then just do log the str. Unknown constructor left. Okay, let's import left. I think this also imports right. Okay, so this seems to compile. Okay, so let's see if that works. So we are logging, yeah, we're just echoing into, well, not echoing to a server, we're just writing in console here, right? So let's exit and then run this again, do nc and write type test here, hello world. Okay, cool. So we can do this works. Okay. Cool. So we are getting the string here, right? So I guess we could, rather than doing this, we could just return the string here, like so. And then we could have, like, this is a do block, and then we could do this, right? And then now, since we have the string, we could pretty much do the same thing as here, right? So we could do parse, and then, yeah, so we could do let m command, and we'll worry about refactoring later, right? So it's parse, well, it's str in this case, and then case m command of nothing. We can just let's just log for now, and then we'll worry about writing back to the network later, right? So we could do a log saying unknown could not parse command, and then if it's not this, then we need to do what, just command, and then we can do so this is a new store where we interpret I guess we need to lift, right? No, actually we don't. Interpret command store, and then I guess we need to do pure unit. But then the problem is we're not passing the parse, I think, is instead of parser. And then store, yeah, we don't have any store here. Okay, so the question is, how do we keep this store and thread it through everything, right? And that's a bit trickier to do here, I think. And then I think we're going to, yeah. Okay, so the problem is that each of this, like on data, will run like in a different kind of place, right? So then how do we share this store? Well, unfortunately, we can't use the same trick as here, right? Because this is, it's not a single user, it's maybe multiple users which use this thing at once, right? So we kind of need some different sort of primitive to share all of these things, right? So in order to do that, I think we need to use something a bit more advanced, right? So I think we need at least a ref, if not more than that. So let's see. So let's see what ref is. A mutable value which holds a value of type A, so that's And I don't think you can use avars within effect, right? So yeah, I think maybe ref is enough. I hope it is. Okay, so let's see. So in order to do this, we need to. So let's say we are getting a ref type now, right, as an input. So ref store, right, and this is the store, or let's call it ref here. Okay. So then what do we do here? Well, we need to grab the ref value, right? So we need to do, essentially we need to do a read, right? So let's see, store is read, ref.read. Yeah, I think this is it, ref, right? I think that's correct. Could not match type T0 command to interpret. Okay, so why is this not working? I might have a different error somewhere else. Let's look at this. So yeah, this returns an effect unit, and then yeah, it does an effect unit. Maybe this or not, like I need to do this. Oh no, wait, I think this needs to be pure string here, and I think that's fine then. Isn't this a mutable buffer? Yeah. Not seeing the problem here. And of course I need to modify the store, but why is this an error? Where are we trying to use string as? Oh, okay, never mind. Okay. It's so wait, what was the result of this, right? Because this should be a. So why is this not a simple string? Mutable buffer. Let's see what's that. So we have a mutable buffer. Okay, so what kind of instances do we have? Because I'm assuming, why is there no instance here? Members. Okay. So for buffer, we have for buffer and effect, right? Okay, so shouldn't that allow me to do a toString? Where is toString? Which given an encoding, a buffer, which I have, and they should give me an effect string. Right, because it's mutable buffer and effect. Right, so it should give me an effect string here, like this thing. And this should also give me an effect string, so then str should be a string here. So parsing a string should be a maybe string, this. So what's the problem again? Oftentimes, I'm not sure what's happening here. Oftentimes, adding some annotations might give a better error. Does this do block not do what I think it does? No, that can't be the case. Okay, so let's see. What if I'm saying that this needs to be an effect string? And then why wouldn't this also be an effect string? But then if I do this isn't, wait, huh? But you have this construction. Yeah, but shouldn't this construction be... Oh, right. Okay, I get it. Yeah, this won't work. Okay, you're definitely right. Thank you, Palu. Right, because this used to be a single liner, but then we can't do this anymore, right? So we need to do something like do some like either here or like input, or what's this? Yeah, I think that's just an input, or yeah, the input. Okay, that should be fine now. And then we need to do something like this. Unexpected mismatch indentation. Why? Do we need to parenthesize this, or what's going on? Okay, no, it's fine now. Okay, so I guess that means you can also get rid of this annotations here. Okay, so then what's the problem here? Oh yeah, we need to create a ref and pass it. Okay, that's fine. And then, okay, let's look at the ref modifying thing. So thing is, we like, in order to modify it, we kind of need a pure function to modify it, and we don't have that. So I guess we need to do a write. So I guess we need to do a ref dot write store. Well, ref store I think is the way to do it. No, it's the other way around. Okay, and then we need to create that ref, right? So I guess we can just create it here instead. So we could do ref.create or new empty. Well, I guess we could use map.empty. And then we just need to pass what's it called, store here. Okay, sorry, we need to bind it now. And then we'll get an error down here, right? Because this is no longer the same idea of a store. So yeah, we need to change it here as well, right? This needs to be a ref store instead. And then, yeah, we need to use it in a different sort of way. So we need to grab the value here, so it's store. And again, this is not perfect. We probably need better concurrency types rather than refs, but we won't worry about that right now. So we can do a ref.read ref. Yeah, let's replace this with ref. Okay, and then we can do ref.write store prime ref. And then where is store? Well, and then we pass ref back, I guess. And then this is ref. Okay, right, so we need to lift effect both of these things. Yeah, this looks fine, I think. So let's try it out. So our thing should still work, I think. So let's try put 1, 2, put hello world, dump, and it definitely works. Now let's connect, and then let's do a dump here. It cannot parse the command. I wonder if it's because the new lines work differently or something like that. So let's do get hello. Oh, so now it says just no key found. Let's do dump again. It says it cannot parse the command. Interesting. Put 3, 4. Dump. For some reason it won't do dump. What about getting 3, get 1? Okay, so something definitely is not working correctly. So what if we do dump here? Okay, interesting. So we were able to, so I'm not sure why we have an extra new line there. That's interesting. I have no idea what this is about. Oh, I think I know. So I guess this adds more than one new line here. So that's why the single, like this, things don't work, but this, like, I think the last parameter, it's the extra new line. Right, let's try doing put, this has, well, new line, right? And there will be a new line after new line. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So I guess question removes the new line, but our data doesn't, right? So we need to somehow strip new lines. So I guess we could just do it here. Yeah, because I mean, we're not even guaranteed to be receiving the data after a new line, so we kind of need to be careful about this sort of thing. But yeah, maybe we don't really care that much about it right now. So do we just hackly do a strip the new line here? Do we do it in the parser? I kind of don't want to do it in the parser, so I guess somewhere around here is where we should probably I guess the hacky way would be to just remove the strip the new lines here. Let's see if we can find a function that does that. Strip prefix something. Okay, it works for lists. But I kind of wanted to do only prefix, not everywhere. So this is for lists and this is for strings. Although it's not prefix, I need suffix, I think. Okay, so it's here. So it's in what's PureScript strings, strip suffix. So let's see if that works. So I guess it's, well, let's just do it in line here. Okay, so we need a pattern. I think we already have pattern. And okay, it's not qualified. Okay, that's fine. Pattern, I guess it's this, but it might be more than that. Let's see if it's just that. Oh, and then we get, why do you get a maybe string? Oh, if it ends, otherwise we get nothing. Is there something that doesn't return nothing and just strips it anyway? Or take, drop, right, slice? No. Okay, so then we need to also add a from maybe str of this, I think. Okay, let's try this again. So let's see, dump, put 1, 2, dump. Okay, cool. It seems to work. Get 1. Obviously, we get the result here, right, rather than here. So it's not exactly. So we need to write the result here whenever we do that, right? But other than that, it seems to work. Okay, cool. So how do we write something to a? I think there was this write socket thing. In socket, I guess. Oh, but now, okay, we run into a different problem now. Because we have hard-coded our interpreter to write the result to the log rather than to wherever, right? So now it's a bit harder to do the write socket thing. And we can do a write string instead. So what's this effect unit? Hello, Anton. We're working on the thing that we started yesterday, the data store, and we're trying to add networking to it. Which is something I very rarely do, so I don't have a lot of experience with dealing with sockets directly. I usually use a lot like higher level libraries, so we're kind of learning as we go. Okay, so we can do a write string where we on a socket. I guess this is a string we're writing. This is the encoding we're using, and what's this effect unit? So invokes the callback after the data is finally written. Oh, so this is just okay. Tell me when it's done, but I think we don't care about this. And what's the boolean? True, and if the data was flushed, false if the data was queued. Yeah, we're not gonna worry about this sort of thing either, because yeah, we don't care. Okay, so now it's the actually interesting part. How do we fix interpret such that it doesn't force a log, right? It does something else. Right. So what do we do here? Well, it should be pretty simple, right? Instead of calling log manually, we kind of need to take log as a parameter, right? So we kind of need like here, a function that we will name output or something, right? Which given a string will return us some effect unit, I guess, since we don't really care about the result. Right, so this is, I guess we'll call it output, and then whenever we have log here, we'll just type output, right? Right, and then we need to see where we break this, right? So, okay, interpret needs to have this extra parameter here. So in this case, we need it to do this write string, right? So it's socket. Well, should we write it here? I guess that's fine. So it's socket that writes string, and then this is the string that we need to pass, right? So it's a function from string to s. Encoding is encoding.utf8. I guess we'll write this like so as well, because there's quite a few parameters, I think. Well, this is nothing. Okay, so and then the result is an effect boolean. So we need to convert this into a unit, right? So an easy way to do it is just to type 2 here, and then do a pure unit here, and then close this. I think they should work for here. Is it not socket? Oh, I used net. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and the first parameter I think needs to be the socket. And then the string, yeah, it's that input. Okay, so that's fine. Result type was implicitly discarded. Yeah, sure. String of any unit is simplest in most cases logger from. Yeah, but we kind of need to, like, in some cases it needs to be this, and in others it's just log, right? So here I think we can just pass log, and it should be fine. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's see if that works then. Okay, so let's try it here, right? So let's do put. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure that's the case. Put hello world dump, so this still works. So now let's try to connect. So what if you do dump here, right? So you get the result. The only thing is, okay, so it's not automatically also adding new lines here, right? So I think we need to also have it add new lines at the end of strings, right? Because log automatically does that, but this doesn't, right? So I guess we need to do s, and then we need to add a new line here, just to make the output easier to read. Okay, so let's kill this and then run it again. Okay, so let's try put 1 2, put hello world dump, and that's a lot better. Okay, and then get hello, and yeah, it definitely works, right? And if we do dump here and get hello here, then yeah, it also works, and we can connect with as many things like things that we want, and if we get one, they all share the state, right?